Hello, this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining me again today. This is our project for today, this lovely little butterfly card. I've held off showing you this card. It was a card I made for a swap group amongst us, all our pootlers. Some of you know that I'm in the pootlers team, run by Pootles, who is Sam, Ham and Donald. And every time there's a new catalogue, we get together and swap cards so that we get inspiration from each other. And this was the card that I made for my group. But I haven't posted it before. We did this a while ago, in January. But the butterfly punch and stamp set have been out of stock. And so I've held off showing you the card until they were available again, and I just saw that they are available back in the shop now, so if you wanted to buy them you could. So I'm just going to show you how I made my card. It's a very simple little card, white card blank, 2 stitched shape squares, little bit of ribbon, and then a kind of stained glass effect butterfly that I've coloured with the blends. So just going to show you how I made it. So start off with a card blank that is exactly the same as most of my card blanks. So it starts off as being 21 times 15 centimeters, or 8 1/4 times 6 inches, and you score in the middle, which in centimeters is a 10.5 and in inches is a 4 1/8. Start off with that. We've then got 2 stitched squares from the Stitch Shape framelit set. These are the 2 middle-sized dies. One measures 4 centimeters squared, the other one measures 5.5 centimeters squared, or 1 5/8 inches squared and 2 1/8 inches squared. The first one I'm going to adhere to the card blank just flat. I'm going to get a little bit of Tombow and just adhere that onto the card blank, and then so try and center it, and you want it at the top half of your card. Oops, oh, we don't want it to do that. It's one of the things about Tombow is because it's a liquid glue, you do get a bit of wiggle time, but sometimes you get wiggle when you don't want it. There we go. Right, and then we're going to mount the other square on here on dimensionals. We're not going to use Tombow, but I've got glue at the corners there. Need to glue it there. But I'm just going to put a tiny bit of tear and tape over the middle of this square, because that's where I'm going to attach my ribbon. And I've got a piece of our white flax ribbon that measures 9 centimeters or 3.5 inches from point to point, but then I've just angled the 2 sides, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick that on there, and I'm going to just use a little bit of that little bit of tear and tape. Where's my tweezers gone? There they are. Just going to use a little bit of tear and tape and place that on there, and that will hold that in place. So the ends are quite free, which is quite nice. The other square is then going to go on top here, and that is going to go on with dimensionals. So just get a pack of dimensionals out, and my dimension, I've got different tweezers for dimensionals because they tend to get a bit sticky. I don't want to wreck my other ones, so I have a spare pair to use with dimensionals. And you just need a few dimensionals on there, that's probably enough. So if you poke in the middle, they should, the backing should come up. I've probably said this before, but I find the backings of dimensionals, I find them in the most weird places all over the house. I'll just be walking through the lounge and there'll be one on the carpet, or I'll go into the kitchen and there'll be one on the side. Tend to get all over the place. There we go. So that is going to go on there. Try and center it up on dimensionals. That's all ready for us to mount our butterfly on. Just realised I probably should have done some stamping before I did that, but hey ho. And then we're just going to stamp the greeting on here before we carry on. So I need Memento Black, and the stamp set, the greeting is from the same stamp set as the butterfly. So it's this one here, a little note I'm using, and this is the butterfly that I'm using today. So there's 5 different butterflies, a solid one and 4 outline ones, but I'm using this one today. And so I'm just going to use my Memento black and a little note greeting and just print that under the squares. Try and centre it up like so. Hope that was in camera. I know I sometimes go off camera. There we go. Now for the butterfly, oh, I need my Memento ink, so I need that still open. Right, I'm using Memento ink. I wanted this kind of stained glass effect, and I did try it with black embossing powder, but actually the lines were much too thick for these very delicate images. I felt the lines became much too thick, so what I did was I used Memento and clear embossing powder, but you have to work really quickly because the Memento ink will dry really quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my butterfly. I'm going to get my, I'm going to do my embossing buddy first actually. Let's do that before we do anything so that we get rid of any static or any stinky fingerprints that might be on here. There we go. Just make sure that we've got a nice clean piece of cardstock to work with. Right, so I'm going to open my embossing powder so that as soon as I've stamped I can come in with my embossing powder, because I don't want the ink to dry before I get a chance to put the embossing powder on. So let's go. We're going to stamp nice and heavy and then quickly come in with our embossing powder, and you can actually tell whether it's stuck to the ink or not. Yep, that's stuck, so that's fine. That looks okay. So now I can close my Memento. I am just going to close my embossing powder because I know what will happen. I'll end up knocking that over. And then I just need my heat gun to just heat my butterfly. And I've just realised I haven't got my butterfly stamp out, so I'll have to quickly find that in a sec. Not my butterfly stamp, my butterfly punch. The butterfly duet punch. It is lovely because you punch out 2 butterflies at the same time. There we go. That's got a very, I don't think you'll be able to see it on camera, but is it catching the light where you can see the embossed edges? And actually it gives a lovely finish. Really fine. So if you want a fine line, it's better to do that than to use the black embossing powder. So I'm going to colour this before I punch it out anyway, and I'm going to use the same colours as I used on this one. When I made these, I made lots of different colours, and I will show you them on my blog. So if you go down below to the link, you'll be able to see them in lots of different colours, but I'm going to do the same colour today. So I started off with light granny apple green and coloured this part of the wing. I've got the brush tip here. You might want to, it's quite fine work though, so if you wanted to use the thinner point, wouldn't be a bad idea. The other advantage of doing the white embossing powder is it doesn't bleed into the ink, whereas when I use the black, you actually got a little bit of the black coming off on the, I think the alcohol affects the black powder. I'm now going in with dark granny apple green, and I'm just going to do the top of the wings, of this section of the wings. Of course you can colour yours however you like, and you know, it really can be creative because these are butterflies after all, so they could have any pattern you like. So we've got a dark section there, and then what we do is come back in with the light one and then blend those 2 colours together, so you get a seamless line from light to dark. Like so. Can you see the difference between that one and that one? Really makes it, your colouring, look really professional using these blends. In fact, my resolution for this month is to use blends more. I've got a few stamp sets that I think I could use blends on quite well. Right, okay, so now I'm going to come in with light Bermuda Bay and colour along here. I'm not sure these are the colours that I used before, but hey ho. I think I might have used Pool Party or something for this section, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, you can use any colours you like. So that's there. And then I'm going to do this line down here while I've got this pen out as well. Like so. And then I am going to just, let me think, what other colour have I got? Let's come in with Pool Party. I'm going to come in with Pool Party here. Dark Pool Party. And I'm going to colour the wings in dark. Yes, I think this is the colour I used. I obviously didn't use the Bermuda Bay before, the 2 shades of Bermuda Bay. I just used one, and I used Pool Party. Blends really nicely with the Bermuda Bay marker. So that was one, and that was another, and then I'm going to blend again. But like I say, you could do any colour scheme you like on these butterflies. Anything, if you're doing it to match your home decor or something, you could do any colours you like. I might just do these while I'm here. And then I'm going to do a little bit of blending on that piece of wing that I've just done. Hope you can see this okay. There we go. So I'm going to come in with my light Bermuda Bay again and just do a bit of shading down at the bottom of the wing here. Like so. And then I'm going to blend that with the Pool Party. So again, you go over this with the light colour, you get a really lovely blended, and it takes away all those harsh lines. If you haven't invested in any blends and are thinking about it, now would be a great time, because it's still celebration, and you could get a free gift for every £45 you spend. The blends are £8.50. So I'm just quickly trying to do some maths in my head. So I think if you bought 2 sets, it would be £17. 4 sets would be £34. So if you bought 6 sets of, I think 6 sets of blends, you'd then qualify for a free gift. You could buy the butterfly paper, which is lovely for colouring with the blends. It's got black and white on the back of all the cut patterns, and it's beautiful to colour with blends. Right, I'm going to do that bit with blue as well, and that bit's going to be dark. So I'm just going to do a little bit more with light Granny Apple Green here, and yeah, and one more bit with light Bermuda Bay. Really am loving these blends. Before I bought these blends, I really didn't like colouring, and I thought all my attempts were very amateurish and looked like a 5-year-old had done them. But since the blends, I can't stop me. Right, now then, let me find my butterfly punch. Here it is. Sorry to lean across the camera. Right, okay, so we're going to punch this out, and we are nearly done. So I'm lining my butterfly up on my punch with my punch upside down. As soon as I've got it where I think I need it, and then I'm going to place it on, glue it onto my card. I'm going to just raise the wings up a little bit. Like I said, I think I should have done this before I stuck it down, but we'll plough ahead. Just a little bit of Tombow on the body, because you don't need much on there. There we go. And then I hope I'm not going to ruin it by doing this, but I'm going to try. You need to come in with the body. So I've got the body mounted on a clear block. I need my Memento black again. So this won't be embossed, but it doesn't really show and it doesn't really matter. So come in with the body and just stamp that. Ah, perfect. And then just the antennae as well. So everything you need to make beautiful butterflies is in this set. You get everything. There we go. And there's my antennae. And there's my card. So like I say, you could do a whole rainbow of butterflies in this design. Very nice card and very useful for lots of different occasions as well. Sometimes you don't want to say happy birthday or whatever, you want to say something different. So really, really useful. So I hope you've enjoyed that project. Just to say that my little team during celebration has been expanding, but if you're contemplating the joining offer, please do think about it, because my team has expanded and we're getting a nice lot of little people joining me now, and so you'd be very, very welcome. You'd benefit from having me as your team leader, but also being part of the wider Pootlas team as well. So you're invited to all the training and all the stuff that goes on there as well. So really, really good. You get the best of both worlds. You get me, who's quite a small demo and can give you a very personal service, but you also get the benefits of being under Sam, who's a Pootler. So if you're thinking about joining, I would love to have you as one of my paper daisies. And that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye.